Alrighty, guys, we're back for Gruff Terror, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, this was a patron suggestion, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. It was essentially to try out Terror of the Peaks with Gruff Triplets, so that's what we're gonna do. We have all four Terror of the Peaks, just two different artworks here, if you're wondering. So yeah, all four of them. It's a 5 mana, 5/4, Flying Dragon, and spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks. Cost an additional 3 life to cast. Nice. Now, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Oh, buddy, that's a good ability. But with Gruff Triplets here, it's a 6 mana 3/3 with Trample, and when it ETBs, if it isn't a token, you create 2 tokens that are copies of it. So 6 mana for essentially 9 power hitting the board. And also, when Gruff Triplets dies, you put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. A really neat card, man. Now, pretty much everything here on our top end is going to pair beautifully with the Triplets and the Terror of the Peaks. Like we have a 1 of Railway Brawler here. Yep, that'll do a thing. We have Ghalta, Stampede, Tyrant. Here's one you don't see often. It's at 8 mana, 12/12 Trample. When it ETBs, you put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So essentially, if you hit a Terror of the Peaks with that too, or if you already have Terror on the board, probably winning the game then and there, huh? We also have Calamity, Galloping Inferno. It's going to pair beautifully with that Brawler and the Terror, and, well, pretty much everything here, honestly. Might as well finish going over the rest of the top end. Have some Virtue of Knowledge, actually. It's a 5 mana enchantment, and if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So like Terror of the Peaks, for example, or all the other ETBs that we have packed in, which we do have quite a bit, honestly. Also, this has the adventure side. For just 1 and a blue, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Yeah, pretty cool card, man. I have Oko the Ringleader here. It's a 4 mana, a 3 loyalty legendary planeswalker, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, Oko becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature you control until end of turn, except he has hexproof as well. It would be pretty sick to go ahead and copy like a Terror of the Peaks, and then on main phase 2, drop a big old chunky creature and get a couple of the Terror of the Peaks abilities going through. Now this has a +1 where you draw 2 cards, but if you committed a crime this turn, you discard a card, otherwise you discard 2 cards. So the deck kind of sort of cares about committing crimes. We also have a Magda here, the Hoardmaster, to help us ramp a little bit, but then also we have a small treasure theme working with the Magda as well. Also on the Oko, it has a -1 for creating a 3/3 green elk creature token. That's pretty good. So a -5 that I don't think is going to be unheard of. For each other non-land permanent you control, you create a token that's a copy of that permanent. That is disgusting. Okay, I spoke about treasure theme and ETBs and all that. We have 4 Jewel Thieves in here, kind of like one of the most underplayed green cards I've ever seen, bro. It's common too. I love it. I have Charming Scoundrel as well, just more ways to get treasures on the board, more ETBs, all that's going to be important. Generous Plunderer is going to help us commit crimes and fits the treasure theme as well. Now, at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a treasure token. When you do, target opponent creates a tapped treasure token. Okay, so hopefully it won't be too bad to give the opponents some extra treasure. Hopefully we just have better things to ramp into, right? But also, when Generous Plunderer attacks, it deals damage to defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. If you do have multiple Plunderers on the board, that could be a lot of damage really fast, and also kind of a neat one to copy with the Oko Ringleader, right? So we have some utility with Return the Favor, also helping us commit crimes and whatnot too. We have Bushwhack here to make sure we're grabbing the land we need, but also helping us commit crimes. And there's not a lot of removal packed in. Is a couple Bushwhacks going to do it? Probably not. We probably are going to have to talk about more removal at the end of the day. But honestly, we're just trying to ramp into our big things faster than we need the removal. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a couple Smuggler Surprise. Dude, this is going to be sick in here with Terror. So this is a 1 green mana, but it is a spree card. So we choose 1 or more additional costs. It is instant speed too, which is very noteworthy. So the main additional cost we want to focus on is the middle one here. For 4 and a green extra, you may put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Nice. That is That is delicious, man. Oh my goodness. At instant speed, mind you. But the top one is just +2, mill 4 cards. You may put up to 2 creature and or land cards from among the milled cards into your hand. And then the bottom additional cost is just +1. Creatures you control with power 4 or greater gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Which reminds me, guys, we also have Outcaster Trailblazer here to help restock our hand. Also has a plot for 2 and a green that I think is going to come in handy often. The mana base I thought about for a little bit, guys. We're not going to go over it right now, as I'm going to try to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, even though we basically went over everything already. Also, some honorable mentions over here. All of these literally almost made the cut. I thought about Bitter Reunion, Riveteer's Requisitioner, Galagreeter's Sahili here, and Croaking Counterpart could have been a neat one. Apprentice's Folly, same concept, and Goldvein Hydra almost made the cut. Okay, guys, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Let's go. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? What am I expecting from the build, by the way? I don't mind this hand. We are keeping this, in fact. I don't know what to expect. It's probably janky, right? Turn the favor. Okay. Copperline Gorge comes down, and we're probably going to start with the Magda, but I'm not really sure here. Smuggler's Surprise. So this is when you commit a crime, and Plunderer helps us commit a crime in the upkeep. So we probably want to start with Magda, but I'm not sure it survives. Oh, no cut down from the opponent. That is good. Jetmare's Garden. Oh, okay. We got some domain to go up against here potentially. They go for the throat before we untap. I would say that was a good decision from the opponent. Dual Thief is a pretty good draw. And that is what we do for the turn, huh? Now, we don't have double red on the board for our one of Return the Favor. Yeah, there's so many new cards packed into this build. I've been struggling to briefly go over the deck at the beginning when we have so many new cards to talk about. Okay. So no double red for the terror unless we use the treasure, I guess. Yeah, that is mana fixing. That's something we want to do, though. We do have the swing. I don't know if we want to play terror. I'm pretty sure it gets picked up by something on their turn. Against domain, like, yeah, for sure. But I guess we'll go Generous Plunderer. Save terror for just a little bit longer. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, this is very much, you know, domain, rock, sunfall, and all that too, so we'll see. And unfortunately, not having any more red sources to hold open to Return the Favor too, but yeah, this board is much less tempting to drop a sunfall on. Like, if that terror hit, I'll tell you what, man. We have Smuggler's Surprise for 3. Plunderer is out of the equation. Archangel's a problem for now. Maybe they don't end up dropping. Okay, Brawler. We could plot the Brawler. Definitely going to want to see more mana here. We do have 26 mana total in the deck. A 6th mana would have been really, really good, actually. Alright, I'm going to get Terror of the Peaks down now. We can't swing with the Jewel Thief. Pretty much anything we end up doing for the turn is risky, and if we, like, pass it back without doing anything, then that's really bad. Terror of the Peaks was the choice because it has flying to match the Archangel. And then also when we play Brawler, we'll be able to use the Terror's ability, hopefully. This board is probably still tempting to drop a Sunfall on, unfortunately, so hopefully they don't. Depopulate. Okay. And not mana, but Plunderer helps us ramp. We could just plot the Brawler and be happy with that for now. After the board wipe, I wonder if plotting the Brawler last turn would have been an okay thing, right? If we... I wasn't 100% certain if they were going to drop the board wipe, though. Alright, we'll plot the Brawler for the turn, I suppose. Yeah, really awkward lines. Some mana off the top would be awesome. We definitely want to see more. And just being the first game, we don't want to talk about 27 mana just yet, right? Not when we have so much ramp with our early treasure ramp and stuff, you know? Trailblazer. Okay. That could be interesting. So we start with Trailblazer. Whoop, what did I just do? Did I just double click through that? Oh no, guys. I was trying to just play the Trailblazer. Well, I misclicked. It is what it is, huh? So the plan there, maybe this will end up working out in our favor, right? Maybe we are playing around something. I'm not even gonna get the Brawler down. I'm gonna hold off for now because we want to restock our hand off the Trailblazer. So the plan there was to go Trailblazer, add a red mana, play the Brawler, and then play the Plunderer. So the Plunderer was going to get a couple counters from the Brawler, and we were going to draw off the Brawler because Trailblazer was on the board. So, yeah. Well, hopefully that ends up working out, huh? Honestly, without seeing more mana here, maybe it will end up working out. So nothing big on their... Yeah, nothing on their top end is hitting the board yet. It's got to just be more board wipes at that point, right? It's going to be very important, I would say. Here's what we'll end up doing. Apparently, I can copy that, but we don't want to. Also, Sheoldred's Edict. Okay. I guess it is what it is. So we're not going to get the draw on the Brawler then. Still get to add the mana. Yeah, Sheoldred's Edict doesn't target or anything fancy too. And also, we don't have double red for the Return the Favor. Okay. So let's go for Virtue of Knowledge for the turn. Since we're struggling to see mana, right? I will still call red, though. So the last two cards in their hand is probably just more removal. I'm pretty sure this Brawler hits the board and dies immediately. So do I still keep it back based on what's in our hand? We might be able to pull something off. Okay, I'll keep it back one more turn. At this point, man, like, it's all risky. Like, the opponent's just waiting to see the Atraxa off the top. And only having 4 mana in the top 15 cards in a 26 mana deck, I'd consider that unlucky, right? I think so. I don't know how that maths out percentage-wise, but there we go. It's not a red source, though, but that's fine. Got the 5th mana, and we won't have the second red source for Calamity unless we see it off the top. Well, let's see what they do to the Brawler here. And then we'll go for a Plunderer. They activate Mirrex. They still have 2 cards in hand. Honestly, maybe both of us are getting a little unlucky here, huh? Also, we could activate... Like, I wanted to keep the Smuggler's Surprise for the fun thing. But maybe we just activate it for 3 mana here, too. Get more cards, right? We mill 4, put up to 2 creature and or land cards from among the milled cards into your hand. We honestly might want to do that. Grab a land off of it, too. I'll do it on the opponent's turn, though. Yeah, it would have been fun, but we don't even have 2 creatures in hand to do the 6 mana thing from the surprise. And Sheoldred's Edict gets around the hexproof and indestructible, too, so. The Beanstalk, all right. It's only a matter of time until they find the Atraxa or a Tali or something. We can keep the Plunderer around. We'll have a cool Calamity swing. They go ahead and cycle out. Yeah, they must be getting a little unlucky too, huh? I would say so. Stomper. All right, that's a good blocker for now. Yeah, like we could... Yeah, no, we're going to use the Smuggler Surprise. That's one of the things that makes the Spree card so good, right? Like having the extra options. And at some point there, maybe we should have done it a little earlier too. They go for the swing. I believe we have a successful block here. They get 1 poison through. Yeah, because I don't know what that would be in a domain build, you know what I mean? All right, mill 4 cards. Let's see what we see. We are looking for a red source, I suppose, but we're going to get one off the treasure on the Plunderer. Ooh, Gruff Triplets too. And Scoundrel. At that point, I will take the red. We'll save the treasure and the triplets, maybe? Okay. We'll take the red source. We'll take the triplets. And I think we can be pretty happy about that. I'm going to take this action. We have Return the Favor. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Oko. Okay. So Calamity. Whenever this attacks, it deals damage. So Calamity copying the Plunderer, it is a little bit of extra menacing damage. But the tokens that are coming in are already tapped and attacking, so we're not going to get the extra damage from the treasure. And Triplets doesn't have haste, but that could still be pretty cool. Unless their last card in hand. Give me 1 second, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. And Oko's pretty cool, too. That's not a bad draw at all. I'm going to play this as a land because I think we're always going to want a lot of land on the board regardless, even if we are ramping with the treasure here. We got to remember, too, that the ETB abilities, if permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability, so Gruff Triplets is actually pretty huge, but the fact that it just doesn't have haste. We're going to save the triplets for now, and we're going to go for Calamity for the turn. We'll go ahead and saddle on up and get some extra menacing damage through, which is actually pretty sick. And then they might chump here. They might chump the 4/6, or they might take 6 damage. Or they take all of it. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's too bad that we didn't get, like, that we don't also get the ability on the Plunderer too, but they do enter tapped and attacking, so it does make sense. Still pretty cool. Going Gruff Triplets first means that it passes back. We are, like, you know, the opponent could easily drop a Sunfall at that point, and then we wouldn't have anything to saddle up for Calamity on the following turn. Okay, they go all to face, and they're back up to 15 here. We want to make sure... Yeah, we didn't have Return the Favor open for, like, the Archangel's Wrath or anything. It's actually been very hard to keep anything open. If we go Gruff Triplets and use that to saddle up, that's pretty good, right? 2 extra over there, too. Probably for the Scoundrel, then. We want to go Gruff Triplets. That happens twice. This is pretty wild, actually, dude. This is mid-range being mid-range. So we're going to also put some Wicked Rolls on stuff here. How do we feel about that? Some Wicked Rolls. Probably... Well, I guess we'll just go 1 onto you. Wicked Roll. They still got some good blocks, so that where they end up blocking... We want them to take the extra damage there. Okay, then we go Gruff Triplets, right? Now that's saddled. We swing, then Gruff Triplets. So Generous Plunderer doing 3 because they have 3 artifacts. 2 more Gruff Triplets comes in. They have great blocks. But this is really cool, isn't it? Holy cow. Yeah, we had to think it through a little bit. Honestly... We saw more mana earlier. It does feel like the opponent's getting a little unlucky with what they're seeing. Now they do gain 3 here, back up to 5. But pretty good blocks. They're losing 1 from that. All the Gruff Triplets get a nice little boost. And another boost here too. Dang, dude, that's really cool. Now the opponent has 2 cards in hand. Oh, man. They swing in the air. It's gotta be a board wipe, right? Now, Oko could help us reestablish after a board wipe. Also, they do go down to 6 here, too. I mean, we were anticipating the second board wipe the entire game, so I'm not even mad about that. Like, we had to expect it. Oh, no, another Archangel. Oh, no, and see another instance of not being able to hold the Return the Favor open there. That is brutal stuff, huh? All right, Oko. And Oko draw. We don't have any creatures. We have 2 mana remaining. I believe that is it. I believe that is game. So we're going to draw, see what we see. And it's mana. Oh, no, guys. Here, I'll play the land for the turn, huh? Oh, I already played a land for the turn. Oh. Well, this is awkward. Well, we didn't have anything anyways, unfortunately. Good game, opponent. Brutal stuff, huh? Missing that mana for that long early on definitely felt a little unlucky. And honestly, maybe we would have been able to push through successfully. Archangel of Wrath, the 3rd one came down, and that was it. Other words, it probably would have been a top deck war for a little bit there. Maybe not, though. That Oko was going to help us reestablish quite nicely. Get some elk on the board and whatnot. All right, let's keep the ball rolling, huh? Because that definitely felt a little unlucky overall. Second to populate right on time, but like there wasn't... I wasn't surprised by that at all. Especially after we established such a huge board state, too. Okay, we got a couple terrors this time. Magda might survive longer than... Aw, opponent. We had a decent hand, right? I think I was going to keep that. Well, we'll put that one down as a sample hand. If I remember, of course. It is what it is. Hey, my daily win. Well, that's good news at least, right? You never know. Sometimes wins are hard to come by. Yeah, it's a one big thing. We definitely want to like continuously see terror as like the whole deck is just based around actually popping off with terror. There we go. A couple terrors in this hand too. Although this is definitely worse. Opponent from last game. How could you? All right, we'll keep it. Yeah, we got mana fixing. We're really just splashing the blue anyways. Mana fixing off the treasures is great. And that is exactly what we're going to do here, too. Get that treasure and swing. Okay. Ooh, Swiftspear Gruul. That's probably scary. Well, I guess we save Scoundrel as a blocker, although against Gruul there is a ton of things that give trample to that Swiftspear. Even if we weren't against Gruul, we have to anticipate the Monstrous Rage. Squee! Hi, buddy. I'll trade into the 1/1 probably and take the 3. They don't know what's in hand. So that, I suppose, makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, it's either chump or trade, and I believe it's the trade. Or we could just keep our creature, too. That works. All right. How hard is it to deal 4 damage for Gruul? It's probably pretty easy, right? There's, like, Witchstalker Frenzy, of course, makes the cut in a lot of these. But 2 turns of dropping terror in a row. Start with the old artwork first. See if it can land. And if Gruul does struggle here to take out the first terror, then this could start heavily leaning towards us as the second terror hits the board. We're going to take that damage, right? That's 4. They have 3 mana open. I don't think they can deal 18 damage with 3 mana. That would be a wild line of play. Oh, crap. They're still going to double down burn onto the first terror. So... instead of a combat trick, it was 2 burn spells. If it wasn't the burn spells, it probably was going to be the combat trick then, right? Okay, Smuggler Surprise. The second terror can come down. The Smuggler Surprise going to run into that issue where we just won't have any creatures in hand, so we're going to have to use some of its other abilities here. Still no blue source either, but that's probably to be expected. So, okay, hold on. Yeah, same concept as last turn, man. It's combat trick. Yeah, they have 5 on the board, or just burn to our face. Oh no, guys. We're probably gonna die if I don't block. We could die if we do block. Either way, Terror of the Peaks is not surviving the turn. There's the combat trick, and if we didn't block, that would have been 9 on the board. That would have been lethal. That's scary business, huh? Hey, blue source. All right, and 6 mana for the Smuggler Surprise, but no creatures in sight. All right. I guess it is what it is, huh? I guess we could start with, we could find some, we could find some creatures here, and then we find 1 creature. I already played the mana for the turn, right? But I'll grab the Cascade. And Plunderer can come down as a blocker. So like that's kind of cool, I guess. So far, the curve of the deck is not really showing itself. I kind of want to double check the curve before hopping into the next one. Ooh, a second squee too. Yeah, the opponent's deck looks super terrifying, huh? So we block into the squee, and the double burn from the first, when they took out the first terror, do you guys suppose we also just should have blocked anyways and just accepted the combat trick? I think that was gonna heavily lean towards the opponent anyways, although I loved seeing the double terror. So far, technically just 2 losses for the deck, as the center victory was just the opponent exiting the building early on, unfortunately. And I think that was the best hand so far, too. Okay, here we go. Opponent goes first. Yeah, we try this. Come on, we definitely got to do the cool thing. I mean, we did a cool thing in the first game, I guess, but, like, we didn't win, so I want to do the cool thing and win. I'm going to keep the Bushwhack for now. Uh-oh, passing it back, huh? All right, well, Scoundrel number 1. Scoundrel number 1 lands. Okay. Treasure, right? I think so. Although extra damage if we're up against control could be good. If we go Wicked Roll, they could just go spot removal right on top of the Scoundrel before the roll comes in. But, like, yeah, the extra ramp makes sense. We got to do the mid-range thing before the mid section of the game actually comes into play. We got to, like, ramp into it as soon as possible before they get their fancy pants sunfalls down. So Oko could come down for the turn, start generating us value there. But with 3 mana open, this is probably a counterspell turn. It'd make more sense, I suppose, to just get some extra treasure off the second Scoundrel and get that swing in that way. And maybe now that we know we're up against control, we can go for thinning out the deck with Bushwhack too. Bushwhack might have some good targets depending on what style of control it is, and if they're rocking Deduce for the investigation, it might be like an artifact style. With Simulacrum. They take the 2. Alright, I'm still going to hold off 1 more turn on the Bushwhack for now. Especially when we have so much mana in hand. There very well might be a good target for us to fight. Go for the draw on the deduce. I don't think we gave them a worthwhile counterspell. And they're probably just going to pass it right back for the turn 2 if they were holding open a counterspell. They're at Wandering Emperor range too. Oh, temporary lockdown hits our treasures. Really, really brutal. Pit offerings, not a lot to pick up from the grave yet. Not committing a crime just yet. All right, with 1 blue, we can now establish the Oko, which is pretty good, man. I think we want the elk until we can't elk no more, right? And it doesn't have haste or anything fancy, but it looks like we still target anyways. Is this a you may? No, Oko becomes a copy. Oh, of up to 1 target. Okay, up to 1. Okay. Red source on the Sunken Citadel. I believe we have to... Restless Anchorage. Oh, no. Oh, dude, they're going to be tapped out next turn, though. But our Oko's dead, and I'm sad about it, and I wasn't even looking at that Restless Anchorage. Okay, so Pit Offerings enters tapped. Still not a lot to pick up with it anyways. The Forest was a good draw, because now we don't have to use Crucible. And Terror can come down, but they're like right in range for more board wipes. It's gonna be brutal, man. Standard's brutal. The meta's brutal. All right, let's see it. Let's see the board wipe. Opponent, why? I was just kidding, opponent. That's why some of like these plot cards really come in handy. This is actually a good draw, but at this point, too, we might as well just play it, right? 1, 2... No, probably not. Probably not. Because if we plot it, we have to remember when this comes in, it adds 1 mana of any color. So it's a little bit of ramp for, like, next turn, for example. Holy cow, guys. I just double-clicked through that again. I'll have to change out my mouse after this. That's scary, man. I don't know why I just did that twice. Anyways, we'll go ahead, get Pit Offering down now, and exile the opponent's grave. Oh, and we can also go into our grave and get rid of the Oko too, because it doesn't matter that it's in there. So, Pit Offering, entering tapped, doing all that fancy stuff. Still going to keep that Bushwhack back. So, add 1 mana of any of the exiled cards colors. So, white, blue, and green. Pit Offerings can tap for now, which is actually really sick. Okay, well, Trailblazer, maybe it is time to go ahead and thin out this deck, huh? Bushwhack could still take care of something, though. We'll just keep Crucible open. And yeah, it's a little awkward. Again, right? Like every game, every hand has been a little bit clunky, I would say. Very well how I put the deck together. I would say we can start leading it towards that based on all the games. That second game, guys, I really wish we could have played that out because I do think that was the best hand so far. All right, let's get Crucible. A couple 1/1s down here. We could have done that last turn for some hasty creatures, but they would have just powered up Incubator. Block 1 of them anyways. Kind of just like keeping it open at instant speed for the end of their turn. Makes a little bit of sense too, I guess, if they're rocking temporary lockdown and whatnot. Mountain. Oh, no. Okay. Well, Trailblazer just waiting. They had so many cards in hand that they discard a Sunfall. Also, maybe I got a little too greedy with the Pit Offerings going down early, because we very well knew that this was a Memory Deluge style of deck at the very least. Okay, so what we do is we swing, and they block with the 2/2, and then we use the other 1/1 with Bushwhack just to do something, right? Because at this point, I'm pretty sure that they've controlled us far enough. Like if this wasn't a card that actually did something, which it isn't, it's just a mountain. All right, Bushwhack, you fight you. 2 cards for the price of 1 Sunfall artifact. But yeah, no, we don't have to do this. The main point here is I'm pretty sure this is the opponent's, and so depending on what we end up seeing next turn, we'll probably drop the concede. I still don't want to play the Trailblazer just yet. The second we play the plotted Trailblazer, like, yeah, it doesn't have haste or anything fancy, but the second we play it is the second they just spot remove it or drop another board wipe too. Right, like they discarded that second Sunfall, meaning there's probably a third one in hand, or maybe they're confident enough now that they've controlled us enough. This temporary lockdown was pretty brutal, man. Losing those 2 treasure tokens really could have done us in. But after the fact, everything has felt really, really clunky. Maybe that is due to the early ramp that we ended up choosing for this list. You know, maybe it's not reliable enough. No more lies on the top. It is land. Oh, no. All right. We're about 36 minutes in. We're going to go ahead and drop them the good game. Generally speaking, I like to let the opponents play it out. They're still a few turns away. Even if we see the greatest thing we need to see off the top, it'll still need to by some miracle land too. And I'd rather just get one more game in to actually see if we can do something better than what we've been doing, huh? See what we can pull off. If you guys are ever wondering why you see I play the bot matches, I take decks in against Sparky to test the, I do sample hands and see how the land is. And I do that like 5 times in a row. And against Sparky, that goes really, really fast to test the sample hands. Okay, we go first. The lands are slow. 26 in here, though. We could find some land. We got to keep this, right? If we mulligan, we could see something much, much worse. And overall, I just don't think this is a bad hand. So we want to get the red source down. Come on, untapped land. Untapped land off the top. There it is. All right. Now we have a choice between Plunderer or Scoundrel. And we are going to go for Plunderer. Scoundrel has haste. And Plunderer deals a little bit more damage if it sticks around. Okay, so we take the action. Scoundrel. So Ringleader is available for the turn. We wanted to go that route. But also 1, 2. Let's just spam as many things onto the board as possible here, right? So we'll go Wicked Roll. We'll spread this damage wide, and I'll do the same thing here and just grab a treasure with the Scoundrel. And, like, have the treasure replace itself, in other words, just for more damage. All right, opponent, please don't be a temporary lockdown style deck. Please. They use their treasure for a green source. Stomper, all right. And they still have green and a black open, so maybe like cut down. Oh, heck yeah, I'll take that action. And a mountain. You have Smuggler's Surprise available. Also, we just have Gruff Triplets too. Also like Oko. Could totally be one of our hasty creatures too. And we get to keep the 2 treasures at that point. Oko could help us draw into... We also committed a crime this turn too. So let's do this, man. I'm going to go plus. Because we only have to discard 1 here. Oh, and it's going to be that forest. Yeah, since we committed a crime off the Plunderer. And you get to copy you because you need to get haste for extra damage. Okay, Oko is established on the board, and we have 6 mana for the Smuggler's Surprise. Dude, this is totally what the deck is trying to do, huh? I'm glad we hopped into one more game. Oh, White Source, Sunfall. Does not hit the Oko, luckily. Smuggler's Surprise, we can save for the end. Oh, they're going back. It's going to be up the beanstalk, actually. Yeah, they called White Source on the treasure, and I thought it was going to be Sunfall for sure, but... Going to be Spar's headquarters. So we get to copy the Plunderer, hopefully, here. That would be really cool. Like, have Oko copy Plunderer. Leyline Binding is probably going to hit the Oko then. So we won't get the copy, unfortunately. That would have been really cool, though. Stomper still can't. So we take this action. We have 5 on the board. 6 total. Terror of the Peaks, guys. Wait. Opponent, don't go. Hold on. Smuggler's Surprise. Stick around, buddy. Stick around. This is cool. You're going to want to see this. Whee! No, opponent, come back! We did the thing! We did the thing the last game. Don't even look at the win rate, guys. It is horrendous. That second win there was just the opponent conceding before we even got to play a card, unfortunately. So I guess it was technically 3 losses in a row and 1 victory, which honestly, you know, it isn't as bad, but they felt pretty bad, didn't they? Let's view the battlefield real quick. We got 3 damage coming in from the Terror of the Peaks, and then 2 more Gruff Triplet tokens coming in, so another 3, and then another 3. The swing was going to be great there, too. Don't forget, I was just trying to rush through it as the opponent dropped the GG, so we knew the concede was coming. But don't forget, you could do that on the opponent's turn with the Smuggler's Surprise, too. Of course, that is risky when you're playing against blue sources, because they could untap, and then you're trying to be cool to do it on their turn, but then they, you know, have their counter spell open all of a sudden. So even so, still going to be good to do on our turn, but just, yeah, at instant speed against some games too. You just like slam huge creatures onto the board as a surprise blockers and stuff too. I'm trying to think in all of those losses, if we had any better or cooler lines of play to just make things a little less clunky, and I'm not really sure, honestly. Hey, we got a pack to crack. Let's do this. Hey, Outcaster Trailblazer, nice. Actually, I wouldn't mind having 3 of those in the deck, but it did struggle to do a thing today for sure. But everything struggled to do the thing today, let's be real. Here's the deck list again, huh, guys? The Splash of Blue seemed incredibly greedy for no reason, and I'm not sure why. Let's talk about the mana base real quick, and let's move some stuff over so I have more room. Okay. So if you look here, well, first of all, we have crazy mana fixing with treasures on Scoundrel, treasure on Jewel Thief, treasure on Magda, treasure on Plunderer. I'm grabbing mana out of the deck with Bushwhack as well. So a ton of mana fixing. I have no idea why it felt like we were struggling so much. Maybe it was my fault. Like, I'll have to go back and watch some of those games. Maybe I missed something somewhere, or maybe we truly did just get significantly unlucky, because honestly, in that last game, like, the deck just really did the thing that it was meant to do. And how often are we going to be able to do that thing? Based on today, apparently 1 in 4 games, but could it be more? Maybe. Let's talk about this mana base, though. So if we're looking here, I didn't want to go for any pain lands at all. The pain lands have been truly just wrecking my face. There's every point of extra damage really matters, and then for some reason, you get like 3 of your pain lands in your opener, and you're like, well, crap, I guess we're going to die extra fast this one, huh? So I didn't opt for any pain lands, just everything all the time is doing way too much damage to me. So what I opted for then is we got late game blue with the Stormcarved Coast and the Dreamroot Cascade. So that's our late game blue. So you saw that it was a little bit slow in the early game, which should be fine. Like, you take your turn 1 to play one of these, and then your turn 2 to play one of your faster lands, and then turn 3 and after you're good to go for these slow lands. Either way, we're splashing the blue, so we got late game blue for the Oko and the Virtue of Knowledge. And Virtue of Knowledge was pretty cool once we got the enchantment on the board too. Really struggling to just have mana open at any point in any of these games. To have the instant speed adventure side of the Virtue of Knowledge and the Return the Favor was really hard for me to pull off today too, even though I think it still would have been pretty neat. Potentially dropping Favor for another creature could be good because the deck really wants to have creatures, even though we have a ton in here. We have 25 creatures. 26 would not hurt anything, you know what I mean? Unless you're going up like a legendary, I wouldn't go up a legendary. A third Gruff Triplets could be pretty cool maybe to continuously fit that theme, or the third Outcaster Trailblazer to continuously, well, hopefully help us restock our hand. Because as we saw in that one game, we got Trailblazer down and then they instantly killed it before we were actually able to play another creature anyways. That was the game where we had them all plotted, right? And I accidentally plotted the Trailblazer. That was a silly one. I don't know why I keep accidentally double clicking through the plots, but something to watch out for sure, man. Because once you click it, you can't go back. Anyways, onwards to the mana base again here. We got early red and early green. Early green, of course, for the bushwhack if we need to grab one of our basics. Reveal it, put it into our hand, of course. But then early red for literally everything else. You want the early red for Scoundrel, Plunderer, Magda, all that fancy pants stuff. Pin Offerings was kind of neat, wasn't it? When it ETBs, it comes in tapped, and then you exile up to 3 target cards from graveyard. So the target cards and everything, that fits the crime theme for the Oko and the Magda. But then also there's a lot of decks that really don't want you to take stuff out of the grave. Like if I would have kept Pit Offerings that extra turn to go ahead and take care of their flashback card, like that would have been pretty good, right? Then there's a whole bunch, like, for example, Temur Ramp cares about having lands and stuff in their grave, just like taking out 3 lands and just having Pit Offerings tap as colorless for the rest of the game. Totally fine, man. You know what I mean? So I like it. I've been meaning to try out Pit Offerings for a while, or Pit of Offerings. First of all, I've been saying the name wrong all day. I like it. I don't know if it's worth it. I do like that it does work for our crimes for Oko and Magda, though. Mirrex, of course, right? Just having like an extra land that actually does a thing, but also like there's going to be moments where you have Terror of the Peaks or 2 on the board and you activate Mirrex, get the Might, and then ping a couple things for 1 damage, which could be really good if you don't have creatures in hand, which we definitely struggled to have creatures in hand today. Of course, our utility lands with Who Endures, Crucible of Defiance, and Soaring City. And Soaring City just kind of being an extra reason to splash the blue too, just a little bit of extra removal in here when there's already not a ton of removal anyways. So right away, guys, I think we can successfully, and also like the double red on Return the Favor is pretty greedy too. You don't want to like spend too much treasure on something like this. This is really cool, but I do have some dedicated builds for Return the Favor that we're going to be trying out soon enough. I think we can successfully drop this and go up that third Trailblazer that I just cracked out of a pack, and I don't think we'd mind that too much, honestly. I like Trailblazer. Just having more creatures, they play well into each other too, because whenever another creature with power 4 or greater, so if you go Trailblazer into Trailblazer, that is another creature with 4 or greater, so the first Trailblazer draws you a card. Also really like when you do end up taking the turn to plot this, if for some reason you have that extra turn, then when you play it out for free, it is a little bit of ramp too. It's actually just a really neat card, huh? I ended up falling in love with this card in those games, even though it didn't like do too much. Like there was a lot of instances where I just really liked having it anyways. Okay, guys, I made a mess of things, so wait, let me go. Let me go back and go back in. So I wanted to go over the thought process for the mana base and all the extra things for the mana base. That's something we didn't go over at the beginning. Like I said, I've been struggling to go over the deck briefly at the beginning with all the new cards, so it's kind of been all over the place, huh? Jewel Thief is so good, right? I freaking love Jewel Thief, man. Just 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance Trample. When it ETBs, you get that treasure token. We're going to have a lot of issues against the temporary lockdown decks, as we're setting up with treasures, and then they just go temporary lockdown, just completely devastating everything. Yeah, that was pretty brutal, huh? And maybe like 1 Smuggler's Surprise would be better for this build. What would we go up then? Just like more creatures too. What are we thinking, guys? Because like based on those games, we really should change something else, right? Maybe we go up a third Bushwhack too. Drop a Smuggler Surprise, go up a Bushwhack. We're starting to lean towards green, but not by much, and I still think we still want the even split between green and red in the mana base because we need the red earlier on anyways. Between Plunderer and Scoundrel and Magda, all giving us mana fixing. Yeah. We still want the even split then. What are we thinking? Does that look a little better? Maybe. We didn't change too much. We dropped a Smuggler's Surprise, which was making an appearance a little bit too much, and then making it to where I want to just save up to 6 mana. Instead of use some of the other spree abilities, like the top spree ability would have been pretty good earlier on in some of those games. I guess there just weren't enough moments where we actually had 2 creatures in hand that were worthwhile spamming out, except for the last game, of course. So the extra Bushwhack, once we do actually have some bigger, chunkier creatures established, I think Bushwhack would be pretty good. And either way, you do want to have that mana fixing in a 3-color deck too. I do like that. What do you guys think? Do you think those small changes would help the deck's clunkiness? One big thing with the clunkiness when you're looking at the curve, of course, is very much a ramp curve as you're trying to ramp right past this little dip here and right into your top end. So overall, I think that is how I want it. Yeah, would we put it up on Aether Hub? We definitely have to call it jank. Either way, guys, hey, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. And then thank you again for the suggestion from our patron. Very cool suggestion. Terror of the Peaks. We're going to be revisiting this one for sure again, and just the way it pairs with everything in here too. I really like that. Oko seems really cool. I kind of want to revisit this card again too. Okay, guys, hey, I will see you in the next video.